influence the Jewish people. And in a way, it calmed me in one of the low moments of the negotiations. And by the way, the negotiation is not over, and I will update about it momentarily. I'd like to start. Some of you are veterans in this process. Some of you are new to this process. If you don't know me, I'm Yizhar Hess. I'm I'm the executive director of the Masorti movement in Israel, and I'm soon to leave my position and to work at the WZO as your representative. And soon after I was appointed, I started this process of getting to know the national institutions. And I want to tell you, it's complicated. It's complicated as much as it can be. And I will try to do it in a nutshell for a second. I'm sure it won't be easy to comprehend, but bear with me. So the Zionist Congress is the mother of all the national institutions. The WZO, the World Zionist Organization, is the mother. And it has three daughters. One is the Jewish Agency. One is Keren Kayemet L'Israel, JNF. And the third is Keren HaYesod. Each one is designated to different things. All of them were formed in the very first days of Zionism. And this structure of basically four organizations, the mother and the three daughters, this is the structure of the national institutions. And the power within these three organizations is delegated by the Congress, by us. This is how it formed, and every 5 years there is an elections, as we know, but there are elections only in North America. In other parts of the world, it's not necessarily, and this is how this Congress is formed. Now, what is one of the significance of convening people in one place is, of course, the power of each si'ah, of each mishlachat. We are MERCAZ, standing as a mishlachat from all the Masorti conservative world, together working on positions and arguing. And this is part of the nature when we meet in one big hall in Jerusalem. Here it will be, must admit, way more challenging. The discourse will be limited because of the nature of the beast, this format of Zoom. And I'm not sure that we'll be able to have the same nature of mishlachat, of one si'ah, of working together as a group. We'll try to keep it, it's more limited, but always remember that we are not letting go of the concept of meeting people and hugging people. And I'm sure that in the next Congress, and there are talks about having Congress Shalom Min HaMinyan, another Congress in a year in order just to have everyone convened. It's not planned yet finally, but this is one of the ideas. So I hope we'll be able to see each other soon. So what is the Congress and how it works? I will share my screen now with you. Okay. So there were results of the elections in the US and the agreements in different federations around the world. And together with the Israeli political Zionist party, it all convened into the numbers of delegates in this Congress. Usually there are 525 delegates in the Congress. This Congress it's only 521 because 4 delegates were nifselu, were rejected, I would guess is the right translation. And these places are canceled because of things that weren't done correctly during the elections. Anyhow, so today we have a Congress of 5-1 delegates, and this is the way the parties are divided. Now, usually in the days before the Congress, hectic negotiation agreements are being trying to work. And this is where we are not happily describing what happened in the last few days, where surprisingly, really surprisingly, because we were sure that we will be able to moderate it, it didn't work yet. A coalition of right-wing and Haredi parties was formed. And it's a still narrow kind of coalition, but as you can see from the different parties that you see here, it is a coalition that has a significant number, a majority, not a big majority, a very small majority, but still a majority. Now, who are we in this list? Of course, we are, you can see that the Likud is the biggest party in the Congress. It's due to their numbers in the Knesset. Artzenu and MERCAZ, this is who we are. Artzenu is the Reform Movement, and MERCAZ is the Masorti Conservative Representatives. And a few months ago, after long negotiations and deliberations, we decided to form a one group that would negotiate together in the national institutions. It's the first time we do it. It's the first time that we try to exercise the big power that we do have. It's like a third of the regular Congress. Not a third, it's like 1/5, 20% of the regular Congress. And it is significant. We are working together in an unprecedented way because it's the first time, but still, I think it proves that we are able to put our ideas, values, and demands on the table, hopefully, until the agreement will be signed, this final agreement will get at least some of what we wanted. The third party is Mizrahi, as you can see, with 72 delegates, and all the rest are smaller parties that do play a part in the National Congress. Some of them are more known, like Meretz and Avodah, Labor. Some of them are less known. The one that is the new party in the Congress is Eretz HaKodesh, as you can see. I'm sure you read about it. It's a new Haredi party in North America, affiliated with the extreme Haredim in Israel, way to the right religiously than Shas even. And they were able to get, because they worked nicely in North America and were able to do a strong campaign with bashing others, including us, but still a strong campaign that got them 25 seats in the Congress. But remember the number 521. This is the number of regular delegates representing Zionist world and the political parties in Israel. But these are not the only delegates in the Congress. Another group of delegates, another group of 232 delegates are from international Zionist organizations. You know the names, Vitzo, Naamat, Bnei B'rith, Maccabi, and others. In the last few decades, each time another organization joined the Congress, and you can be in an organization if you don't run to the elections, but you get a fixed number of delegates. Each one joined in a different year, so it's a different number, but still you can see that basically the Congress is way bigger than 521 delegates. We usually don't count the other delegates, but they are significant, and in this Congress is even more so because of the political disputes that we are in the midst of. Now, all these representatives, delegates from international organizations can vote in the Congress, except of two groups that cannot vote on personal matters, and voting the leadership of the WZO this is considered as personal matters. And these two groups at the end, the Zionist Council in Israel and the World Union for Jewish Students, they cannot vote on these issues. So basically it leaves us with 192 delegates that are part of the electing body in this Congress. So on your right, you can see the regular Congress. Okay, the delegates only from Israel and abroad, and this is how the coalition is formed now. Okay, and on the left side, you can see the full delegate, the list, all the full picture of the Congress with delegates of the three wings of the three wings of this Congress that we are about to start. The right wing and Haredi coalition, you can see here, they have now about 300, little less than 300. There was a development in the last hour that they grew to some extent. So it's 300 delegates in this side of the aisle. Center left, we are part of the center left, it's 252. And the organizations on 192. Now, what happened in the last 48 hours, as some of you know, I was in touch with some of you via emails and phone calls and WhatsApps. As you know, in the last 48 hours after we learned that there was a coalition formed by right-wing Haredi that could be only described as a hostile takeover on the national institutions, we were in a position where we had to call the organizations that are stakeholders in the Congress, asking them to do something that is unprecedented and to interfere in the coalition agreement. Always the organization, their policy was not to vote on these issues. Even they had the right to vote, they decided not to exercise this, this right. But the policy of the WZO, like the thing that was done always, was a wall-to-wall coalition that respects all streams and all values of Zionism. It's like the big tent, it's the big umbrella. And in this Congress, the right-wing Haredi coalition changed basically the rules. It is a takeover the national institutions in a way that was never done before. And we called the international organizations with your help all over the world. People lobbied for their representatives in these organizations to have them convince them that they should act this time. I think you have the picture. I will go back from this screen to see you more. Now, I'm still optimistic, but I want to be frank. We are in a moment where the negotiations are not necessarily developing. A few hours ago, there was a meeting in Tel Aviv of the representatives of the international organizations. I'm talking about Hadassah, about Vitzo, Bnei B'rith, and others. It was a very, very soeret, turmoil, balagan. It was a very vocal kind of gathering, and they decided for the first, again, for the first time to write a letter to the heads of the Zionist movement, calling them to back off from this coalition agreement and to create an agreement that appreciates all streams of Judaism, a wall-to-wall agreement that like it was in the past. This letter was never written before. Some of the organizations wanted to be more vocal and more offensive. Some of the organizations didn't like that tone, but they reached a consensus that the consensus was to write together that kind of a petition and to demand a change. We hope it would work. This is something that it's like putting a gun on the table, not holding it, but putting a gun on the table. I hope that this is the image of this letter, and this is how it would be perceived. You know, sometimes when I meet delegations, missions, federations from North America, and they come to Israel, I tell them, listen, when you meet Israeli politicians, they do not always understand the way Americans scream, or the way Jews in the world, the way they scream. Like when someone in the Jewish community in, I don't know, somewhere says to an Israeli politician that he's very disturbed or he is dramatically disturbed, the average Israeli ear does not always understand that it's a cry, it's a demand, it's something very serious. And this letter, it is more serious than the regular tone that usually international organizations are using when they come to deal with Israeli politics. I hope it is heard. There are deliberations now in the Knesset and in other places in order to try to fix some of these critical elements of the agreement. Just before that call, I got a telephone call from the representative of Hadassah, and she wanted to tell me that they are writing now a separate letter only on behalf of Hadassah to say how outrageous they are from this behavior. I hope it would help. This is something that we need, A, to pray hard, and B, to be politically oriented in the right way with lots of humble. Because at the end of the day, it's the politicians in the Knesset that needs to understand that they need to reopen this agreement, and we are there to help them understand. Tomorrow will be smarter, I bet, after a long night. I would like, I'm about to conclude, and if there are any questions, I think in the chat I saw something. Yes, Heidi is asking why these organizations didn't vote in the past. Since we have more than 120 years of the Zionist movement, each time the constitution of the Congress changed according to the political forces in the Jewish world that came into power. Like to have Hadassah there was a serious and important thing. And have Hadassah joined the Zionist Congress had to create regulations that are specially to Hadassah, because Hadassah in the very beginning didn't want to be political. So these organizations like Hadassah, Vitzo, Naamat, and others after Hadassah chose that path, and it became a tradition. And it's good for us because we have our organization, Masorti Olami. It's one of the organizations there. Okay, it's important. And the Reform, they have also their World Union, their organization. So it gives us a little more power. And it's, I think it's at the end of the day, it's to our benefit, because now it's the perfect example. We can go to them and ask them, listen, this is the time to put your foot in the door and to say, whoa, we need to hold our horses, to tell the politicians, hold your horses, we need to fix a few things here. And it's obvious. I want to tell you that we weren't able to put this force together without the think tank that we put together here in Israel, Rabbi Mauricio Balter and Emily Levi Shochat and Nili Glikasaf, consulting every day together among us, and then at night with Rabbi Alan Silverstein and Rabbi Phil Scheim, creating this idea of coming together with Siyah that speaks in one voice, and working with our friends in the Reform movement in order to make it work. And we were fortunate to have Rabbi Jacob Blumenthal join us just in the last few weeks, and his role in lobbying on these changes in the agreement that I hope that we'll be able to achieve is also critical. I see another question of Stuart Vogel. Yeah, okay, that's a technical thing that Nili will know how to address. Nili, do you see here any question that needs to be addressed? I see here so many lines. No, I think.
Well, thank you, Izhar.
You're fine. Okay, thank you so much. And listen, it will be a different Congress, but we'll try to keep the vibe of one Mishlachat, and hopefully it will be as successful as it could be. Toda.
Toda Rabba. Tom, for your question, is there anything we can do to support this effort? Izhar, do you want to?
Yes, at this stage. Yeah, so at this stage, the battle is not over. So if you can still push, bombard representatives of Hadassah, Maccabi, Vitzo, and Bnei B'rith in your area, it is important because it gets up, and it might be that the political parties in Israel will try to push it at the very last minute, trying to play chicken with the organizations. And then the organizations, and it will be at this time tomorrow, would have to decide if indeed they exercise their power and vote against. I hope we'll not get there, but we might get there. And in order to make sure that at that very last moment, they do have the power of their constituencies to do it, please continue to bombard them with requests, with demands, with frustration for the fact that they allow this situation to happen. It is important. It is as vital and important as it could be.
Izhar, toda rabba.
Toda.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to share my screen with you. So I understand that some of the questions were let's talk tachlis. What's now going to happen? We want to start talking about the mechanics of the World Zionist Congress. What will happen starting tomorrow afternoon? First of all, I understand that some of the delegates did not yet get the passwords from the WZO. I apologize for that. They're the ones who are supposed to send it. We actually do not have any access to these passwords, and once we're done here, I will call them and ask what's happened and where's the problem. And as for the committee allocation, and we are going to talk about it right now. That's basically the next step. There are different kinds of sessions in the Congress, as you can read. The plenary sessions and the ones in the big group are open for everyone, delegates, alternates, and observers. The committees are ad hoc committees only for this Congress. They're not asking you to for any follow-up work during the year. The orientation committee that we're going to split in the next 10 minutes or so are going to be your Congress committees. The elections themselves, only delegates will get a password, and with that password, you will be able to vote. I will show you later how exactly. If you need to change, you can't be in one of the if you can't vote for some reason, please talk to me, email me, WhatsApp me, whatever. And then the committees are open only for delegates. They're not open for alternates or observers, unfortunately.
Lily, a minute, please. I want to tell to all of us to remember that it's a very different Congress, and we need a lot of patience and a lot of flexibility, because it's not in our hands. It's in the hands of a company that run all this program, in the hands of the WZO. And I am sure that will be some technical difficulties. That is something regular in this type of events. Please be patient. Write to us, to Neely, to Taylor, to me, and we'll try to help you. But we need to be need to be prepared for unexpected situations all the time, because it's not in our hands. We don't decide. We don't have the control of what happened. And I ask for each one of us, I say this for myself also, to be in a lot of flexibility. Okay? Yes, Neely, please.
Apologies for this. Okay, so when you do get the link, you will see this website, all of you. It doesn't matter what, if you're a delegate or an alternate. If you're a delegate, enter your password, and you will be able to choose the language. This virtual world of the Congress is in 5 different languages. So you will be able to choose your language. So the email that you sent us to your delegates, to your MERCAZ representatives, the email that you sent to the AZM or whoever, that with it you registered as a delegate or as an alternate. You see it. You can see the lobby. You can see on the top the navigation bar. It is a bit blurry. I know here is a bit bigger. I hope you can see. I hope it makes sense. You have the lobby. You have the committees. I will show you the committees, the whole social media, elections, and whatnot. This is possibly one of the most interesting things, the committees. These are the 5 committees that will take place during the Congress. Your committee will be clickable. That is that if you are allocated to Israel is home, that is the one committee here on the bottom left. This is the one committee you can enter, or one committee room that you can enter. If you try to enter any other committee, you won't be able to. Once you click on the committee, you will be directed into a Zoom meeting room, just like the one we're in. You don't have to do anything. It will be automatic, okay? And then you'll have all the discussions. Once it's time for voting, you'll see this form. Right now it's an empty one because it's a test form. It's a test form. And at the bottom you'll have all the details on top, and at the bottom you'll have in favor, against, or abstain. And you'll just have to answer whatever it is. If you try to use the same password or the same token a few times, you'll get this message. Now, usually when we're in face-to-face Congress, we can maybe we can give a delegate's card to an alternate or something like that. Unfortunately, this time it's not going to be possible, of course. And if a delegate cannot vote for whatever reason, we need to replace you by Wednesday. Okay, so please make sure that you can vote and that you can participate in the committees. And if not, let us know by Tuesday night. Okay, the latest. By the way, we will send this. We are recording this session, and we will send the presentation to all of you so you can see it later on, as much as you want and as much as you need. You'll have discussion. The committee has about 1.5 hours for discussion. Each one has 2 or 3 resolutions. We're going to go over them right now. And you have about a span of about 8 to 10 hours after the committee discussions to vote. So basically you have a time to do this. It is important to say, unlike the general elections in the United States or any other place, this is not individual nor secret voting. That is that we as MERCAZ Olami, we want to reach an agreement on what we vote on each resolution and vote the same. Everyone vote the same. If we decide to support a resolution, all of us should click in favor. At the end of the voting and also during the voting time, we will get updates on who voted and who not. So we can make sure with you that you are voting and also help you if there's any problem. Mauricio, do you want to do?
Yes. Okay. You can put the Shkufit. We have some goals for this Congress that are important for MERCAZ's delegation. The first one, absolutely, is to strengthen Zionist identity as part of Massorti conservative Jewish identity. This is important to communicate to our people in each place, in each country with what happened in the Zionist Congress, and to explain our participation. This is one of our goals that is very, very important for us. The second one, Nili, can you put?
Okay.
Create presence in federations without MERCAZ. This is not exactly inside of the Congress, but we discover in some countries we don't have MERCAZ branch, and one of our goals from this Congress until the next Congress is to open new branches of MERCAZ in different countries where we have a Massorti presence and communities, but we don't have MERCAZ branch. This will be very important for us to add new votes and delegates for the next Congress. The next goal for us is work on the issue of non-Zionist Jews and non-Jews. We sign up as members in the different countries. We have a lot of stories that I hope with the time we will share with you in Brazil and other places where non-Jewish people sign as members of the Zionist Federation. And we now know that we have some factors inside the Zionist organization that they declare that they are not Zionist. And from my understanding, this is a very big threat for the Zionist movement. And we need to work together this 5 years for fix these 2 points inside the Zionist movement. This is one of our goals also. But we will like to welcome new federations into the WZO. We have 2 new federations that will be vote for include them inside the Zionist movement. One of them is in Paraguay, the another one where we have a very nice community, and the second one is in Ecuador. We don't have yet a Massorti community, but I hope with the time will be, as this is a new federation that will come into the WZO. This is our goals, and it's very important our presence as MERCAZ. We are a big faction with together with the reform, but we as MERCAZ need to show a very important presence and a strong presence in the committees in all the parts of the WZO, not only in the Congress. After this, in the Vadapol and the committees, these 5 years we need to use to be more strong movement and to be more successful for the next Congress. We have 5 years to fix the mistakes that maybe we did in the past, and we are working very strong in MERCAZ Olami to organize new strategic plan for the next 5 years and to think how to branding the name MERCAZ and a new way in different places around the world. Some of the presidents ask me in a WhatsApp why we don't open with a very win success in the elections. And I say because the Massorti people, the majority of the Massorti people didn't understand until now the importance of MERCAZ in each place. At the moment that all the Massorti people will understand that MERCAZ is very important for the future of the Massorti movement, and they will vote in their countries, they will change. About this, we are working in MERCAZ Olami.
Now, we see all the questions about the emails and everything. I promise you, unfortunately, I don't have an answer right now. I promise to check it and let you know. But I see all the questions about this. We want to move on to the, and I see that others did not receive anything. We'll take care of it today. I want to move into the committee, to our committee work. Again, I'm going to share my screen so it will be obvious. Will be as clear as possible for everyone. We're going to break out actually into 5 rooms right now. You're going with Tehila. Thank you, Tehila, for everything that you do. She just waved right now. You're with Tehila, we organized, we pre-allocated you here on this Zoom. Once I stop talking, you'll see a short invite to your breakout room. Please click on it. The 5 committees are Israel is Home. Rabbi Alan Silverstein is going to facilitate the discussion there. The second one is Education in Hebrew Language Instruction. Sophie Feldman-Oflovich is going to facilitate there. Mutual Responsibility will be facilitated by Emily Levy-Shochat. Anti-Semitism and preventing a renewed escalation of it will be facilitated by Rabbi Mauricio Balter. And last but not least, Zionist education for future generations is going to be facilitated by me. We're going to have now about 35 minutes to discuss for discussions in the groups. Once the time is over, we are all going to go back to this main room automatically. If for some reason you decide to leave before or you finish your discussion beforehand, please make sure you click on leave room and not leave meeting, because if you click on leave meeting, you'll have to come back to the Zoom, which is not a problem, but just useless. Okay, Teila.
Talk in place of Izar.
Sabah. As Emily.
I've just asked her to.
No, he left, I believe. He didn't do the Constitution Committee. Is that not correct?
The Constitution Committee is not.
Oh, so he didn't. But as long as you've given me the floor for 1 second, in our group, a few questions came up which I think are relevant for all correct groups. One is, is it possible to set up WhatsApp groups? You know how you broke the people down. And the group would like, the committee members and the delegates and alternates would like to be able to be in touch with one another prior to the actual voting day, just to clarify certain points. Can you do that?
Yes.
So you'll do that and send everybody, so each of us will be hooked into a WhatsApp group for our resolution. That's number one. Number two, there's a general question about, is it allowed in this Congress to make changes to the texts of resolution or amendments? How does that work? I think, because that's important.
Rabbi Mauricio, can you
Yes.
help answer this question?
We need to receive all the corrections, all the amendments to the resolutions proposal, and we will move this to the resolutions committee. Okay?
By when?
The Congress begins tomorrow, as we need until tomorrow. Until tomorrow at 12:01 Israeli hour.
Then, if I may, on basis of that, that's to answer the committee that I was sitting with, but it's relevant for everybody. We did have comments, and I think what the best is, if the moment you set up the WhatsApp group, Neely, if you can do it as soon as possible after we end this meeting, there will be a conversation. There were a couple of very specific recommendations for resolution changes that can be decided by the group, and then they'll be sent to you. Is that okay? Yeah. I hope it works. I mean, I think it's a great idea. Just let's hope it can happen, okay? There was one more question which may be relevant to, not maybe, it's definitely relevant. Is there a way to have connections to other factions who we may want to work in tandem with whom we may want to work together about a certain resolution? Somebody who's our natural ally. Is there?
We are working today with the reform movement about the resolutions, and we don't know what will happen with the coalition agreement. This will define if we will work with another groups, with another parties and other groups. Today, we work together with the reform movements, and we will vote together. This is the idea. Only if we have one resolution that we decide that will be divide the votation because we don't have an agreement. If we have an agreement, we would like to work together.
I suggest that each group facilitator goes quickly and explains very briefly about what did we decide on each resolution so others can say. Emily, can you?
We were mutual responsibility, and we had one which basically we pretty much accepted 3-1, although we felt the feeling was that we want to make it stronger. And actually, Ashira is going to recommend an improved text, and If I'm wrong on what I'm saying, send me a message, folks, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to misrepresent. I hope I'm representing properly. That Ashira will put something together, send it out to our group, and if it's accepted, then we will submit it to you, Neely and Mauricio, to please submit it to the Resolutions Committee as an amendment. That's on the first item. The second resolution raised questions. It's a similar sort of thing. Are we going far enough or not? You had told me, Neely, that the last part of 3.2, there's the last pisca, the last paragraph would be moot. It wouldn't exist if resolution number 3 of the Constitution Committee gets passed. I didn't know what that was. We didn't discuss it, but if that doesn't get passed, then we don't have too much more comment. If that does get passed, then we do have comments. I don't know. I feel a little bit, I'm not presenting it as well as it should be presented. Maybe if somebody else in the group wants to say it better. Julia Edelman, for instance, had, I think, some pertinent comments about this. I know you don't want to take much time. I understand that. Julia Andelman, I'm sorry, not Edelman.
I don't think that I had any specific language to propose, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
Rabbi Mauricio, can you please?
Yes, and in our group, I am the number 4 group, that is anti-Semitism, and we have a recommendation for change the operative part of the resolution number 4.1, and the second one we are against, and we want to down this resolution.
Thank you. Rabbi Silverstein, can you please take us through your committee, Israel is Home?
Yes, resolution 1.2, promotion of Aliyah, we supported without any changes. Resolution number 1, we supported just a couple of linguistic changes. One is there was a concern that among young people, and many of the candidates for Aliyah are young people, young adults, having binary his or her country, he or she, is problematic, should be replaced by different language that's more neutral, you know, the candidate's country or whatever. And also, when it talks about the land of the forefathers, should be land of the ancestors. So those were just a couple of linguistic changes. Otherwise, we supported it.
I think I would also add that it mentions only English and doesn't mention other languages.
Yes. Sorry about that. Yes.
That's okay.
And we mentioned that we agree it should be other languages.
Sophie, can you please take us through committee Hebrew education and Hebrew instruction?
Yes, so we had a few clarification questions and also some comments and questions regarding the actual content. So generally speaking, we support both of the resolutions. We had some of the questions are, what are the age parameters, if that could be clarified in the resolution when we talk about youth on both sides, from what age until what age. There was another concern with the who's in the circle, which went both who's in the circle regarding the youth groups that are mentioned in there. A, the ones that are not classic ones, including Marom and Noam, and B, what would happen with youth groups from the new delegations that were represented that are non-Zionists? Will they also be included or not? There was another question about the extra representation of young people, if it refers as extra people in the delegation, or are they part of the delegation? Also a clarification. And with regards to funding, the one question is, where is the funding coming from? The next question is, at what point do we need to be concerned if the fundings are coming out of other places that would affect the different parts of the movement that would be otherwise be getting the funding, and do we have a say in this question? There were some technical questions regarding how the committees work, who voices the questions, is it a full open discussion? So when we get to that, it would be great to hear a few clarifications about that.
Thank you. I will, since I was in committee, the Zionist Education for Future Generations, I will shortly explain about this. In resolution 5.1, we are against it. It talks about decolonialization of Jewish identity. The way this resolution is phrased and the terms that are being used are very unclear. In one country they mean one thing, in another they mean completely like 180 degrees opposite. Some of the text we feel that it needs to be removed, and we are against this committee and against this resolution. Resolution 5.2, engaging unaffiliated Jewish youth and young adults. This resolution speaks about basically about creating a new youth movement, and we have resolution 5.3 that was also submitted by us and by basically all the youth movements, and it's called Empowering the Council of World Zionist Youth Movements and their Hagshama movements, and we submitted this and we support this. We think it's better to support the existing youth movements that work across the board, religious groups, non-religious, everything, than creating a new one. So these are the committees. I thank all of you, the group, the facilitators, everyone who discussed it during, and we'll go over the questions that we haven't been able to answer now, and we'll send you the answers later. I understand that not everything can be answered right now. Rabbi Silverstein, we're going to move to the appreciation ceremony.
Yes, so we are very grateful for enormous amounts of work that were exerted with love and passion and commitment by MERCAZ chapters and leaders all throughout the world. And the people who worked directly from our office with the chapters around the world were Mauricio, of course, and Neely, who's been a fabulous new addition to our team. And I want to also mention, because she is incredible in terms of what she does for communities around the world and for this orientation, Tehila Rubin. We're very grateful to Tehila. She's really always in our corner. So I'm going to call upon Mauricio and Neely to make specific appreciation references to people who worked hard in the various countries.
Okay, I will say a few words only to add to the mention of the staff, to Ariela, that she worked in our office with Latin America, and it's very helpful with all the branch also in Latin America, and Susan, that is the finance part of our work, that is very important. I want to thank, because today, how I say at the beginning, not all the Massorti people understand the relevance and the importance of MERCAZ, and all of you that we want to thank today are the real people that real understand how important it is to work for build a very strong MERCAZ in each country. And your vision is so important for us that this gives us the possibility to be present as a movement for the national institutions. Each one of you that work in each one of the branches, you are part of our successful and to receive the support of the national institutions. That is not only the possibility to develop programs, is the budgets for the movement in Israel and for the movement around the world. And when I became the executive director of MERCAZ Olami, one of the first points that the board that is led for Rabbi Alan Silverstein and Emily Levi-Shohat asked for me is to organize, to distribute allocations from MERCAZ Olami, from KKL, to a lot of different institutions around the world. In the past was different, but this board decided that they want to be in touch and to support different organizations around the world. And this is a very important vision, and it's important for you to understand that all the rabbinical schools receive and support from KKL, money from MERCAZ, and all the rabbinical regions, rabbinical assembly regions, receive the support, and also Hanaton, that the youth movements, USY and Ramah and Marom and Noam, they all of them receive some support from the work that you are doing in each one of the countries. It's not only, this is all the policy come from the board, but this is thanks to your work in different places in the world. And thank you very much. Continue to work and to build the strong movement, and invite other people to be partners of this important activity. Thank you very much, each one of you.
I've changed the view to gallery because I would like everyone but MERCAZ representatives to turn off your video so we can only see the MERCAZ representatives. Again, if you're not a MERCAZ representative, please turn off your camera for a second. Would like to embarrass a few people.
If you are the representative of your branch, this is the idea?
Exactly.
Really?
So Jacobo, leave it on. Mario, Maria, Stan, and Rabbi Jennifer, Marilyn and Saray. Jennifer, I see you here. I'm sorry, I don't see everyone, but I would like to say that while we turn the cameras off, I would like to join to Rabbi Mauricio's thanks and appreciation of your work. I want to tell everyone that during these elections, these are my first Congress elections. So whatever I experienced was new. I understand it was new for others who are more veteran in this than myself. And our representatives had to deal with first of all, obviously agreements that were not respected and people who changed their minds. We had to deal with people who, with parties that registered non-Zionist and non-Jews as their members. We had to deal with the amounts of lies and just things that should have happened and didn't happen, and changes, and that when I'm forgetting about the corona and the COVID and the pandemic that had to change everyone's plans, and seriously, there wasn't a day without a curveball somewhere or in a few places, and we want to thank all of you for all your hard work in dealing with all of this, and doing all of your hard work. We've created an appreciation certificate. I'm going to share one with you. It's empty one, but I have one for each one, and I will gladly again after tonight you will get it, because it is a certificate, but we really appreciate everything that you've done and all of your work, and kol hakavod, really toda. מכל הלב. Can I ask Jill Kaplan? No, Rabbi Mauricio, do you?
Gillian?
Gillian?
Yes, I've unmuted.
Ah,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
Go ahead.
So first of all, I want to say thank you to Mauricio and to Phil for asking me to say a few words to David in thanks for his many years of service to Massorti and MERCAZ Olami. Of course, I didn't start by saying that this is a farewell thank you to David Brakestone. I first met David in London many years ago when I was the chair of the Assembly of Masorti Synagogues in the UK. On one of his many visits to our communities all around the world, he was doing what he always does, encouraging our involvement and educating us about Zionism. David was and still is an inspiring teacher, and he continues to enlighten us about the events in Israel that are important to us as members of the Masorti movement through his blogs and articles in various newspapers and journals, which he makes sure to circulate.
Right.
Sorry?
You're fine, continue.
Go ahead.
David is probably the only person I know, and other people agree with me, who can explain in a way that is comprehensible to everyone the role of the national institutions in Israel, and also how important they are. This has proved invaluable to the leaders of Masorti and MERCAZ when trying to get our members involved and to understand how the work of the WZO and the Jewish Agency are vital to obtaining the funds we need to support our communities. I've attended 4 WZO congresses throughout my involvement with Masorti Olami, and can honestly say they're not like any other convention anywhere else in the world. And this year, of course, is really no exception. David has been instrumental in steering us all through the minutiae of the resolutions, often explaining how what seems like a fairly innocuous statement is replete with unstated hidden agendas, as well as spending time speaking and guiding our delegations through all of the political issues and the various new and complicated rules that need our compliance. As our representative on various of the national institutions, he has worked with us at each of the Vad HaPoel and Board of Governors meetings, welcoming our representatives on arrival in Israel. And he's also been instrumental in fighting for our communities around the world. So thank you, David, for all the help and support you've given me personally on my journey through the leadership of Masorti Olami, and from everyone in Masorti Olami and MERCAZ Olami for your knowledge, leadership, inspiration, and support over the past many years. Thank you.
Thank you, Gillian. I would like to invite Dr. David Brakestone to say some words, please. אנחנו לא שומעים אותך, דוד. אתם שומעים אותו, נילי?
לא, תהילה, את יודעת מה?
He's not on mute, so it's your microphone, David. Check your microphone, David. Make sure the right microphone is connected. No, we can't hear you. You're not on mute though, so it's on your end.
Hello? Yeah. Okay.
While we wait for
Yes.
David, I will share with you.
Maybe we can wait with David to organize his microphone and to invite Dr. Izar Hess to say words.
Sure. So I will be speaking, and hopefully when David hears the recording, he will be able to hear it. So in a way, I'm stepping into David Brakestone's shoes in the national institutions, and I'm humbled. I must tell you, David, that I meet you way more than you think. I give lectures to Mechinot Kedam Tzvaiyot, to young adults about various things, and more than once, it's about the Kotel and the battle over the Kotel. And there is a picture that I'm not sure if David knows that I have it, but it's from 1996. David stands in the Kotel with a policeman. It looks like he's being beaten or something. It's from Tisha B'Av in 1996. And it is one of the first battles that we had over the Kotel, over the fact that there is a monopoly over the Kotel. This is who David is, a strong for civil rights in general, and specifically on issues of Jewish pluralism, and he's been doing it for decades here in Israel. We do remember the 10 years that he served in the national institutions, but he started it way back when he was in Ramah, and soon after making Aliyah and Bechlal. You know, he's one of the people who knows the back and forth of this discourse. You can see it very vividly when you read his articles. A fine talent of a serious writer that has followers, that the people are waiting to read his words. I would have loved him to write in Hebrew too, but in English he flourishes, and this is something that we all appreciate. In the Jewish Agency, I think in the national institutions at large, I think David, that I'd like to point two milestones that for me are key to understand your leadership. One, it was I think almost 10 years ago. Maybe even more. No, 10 years ago, when you were one of the serious instrumental leaders that was able to get equal funding at the WZO. We got funding from Jaffe, but there was funding in WZO, but it was never equal. Orthodox Religious Services received a significant amount of money, and the streams were not treated equally. And David was one of the leaders who insisted that in the WZO will be treated equally when it comes to funding, and this is something that benefits our movement at large in Israel and out of Israel so dramatically. And it started with an idea that you insisted so powerfully about it. And the second milestone, David, that we will remember and we do cherish, is the comprehensive report that you wrote about the Giyur, about conversion in Israel. This is something that was never done at the national institutions. You took this challenging subject, you wrote about it, you analyzed it, you put numbers, you recommendations about what things needs to be done. Really a booklet that became a textbook for us for how to fix things when we get to a point where we can fix these things. And this is something that we all feel that you benefited, all of us, not only the Gerim that you treated. And when I'm talking about the Gerim that you treated, it's also because you weren't dealing only with a subject at large, but also with individuals. You know, I don't want to speak about Maaseh Chesed that you were involved with, helping individuals in their path to Judaism. And since I'm working closely with my colleague, Rabbi Andy Sachs, and Rabbi Mauricio Balter, I know how involved you were in individual cases when it needed funding or when it needed houses, individual cases. Each case is a person, and you understood it perfectly. Lastly, but as important as it could be, is your involvement with the Abu Yadaya community in the last 2 years. We weren't able to bring the first Masa group to Israel from Uganda without your personal dedication, and the way that you worked tirelessly in order to implement it is something that is so cherished. I'd like to end with my hope, David. I'm not sure if you know what you're about to be doing in the next, years. What is the next path that you are thinking about? But I would like to hope that you'll be combining this path with working on the history of Herzl. I'm not sure how many of you heard David Brakestone, speaks about Herzl, but he's one of the most passionate and articulate speakers about the leader who put this Congress together. And I know how connected David is to Herzl. You are stepping into his office and you can see everywhere Herzl, from books to little memorials. But really, this is something that I would like to hope, not on behalf of the Masorti movement, but on behalf of the Jewish world, that you will be dedicating at least some part of your time to write more and to teach us all about Herzl. And with your passion, it works as good as it could be. So תודה רבה, years of service. באמת, מכל הלב.
Thank you, Izar. Thank you very much. David, are you with us?
I hope you can hear me now. I don't
Yes,
know what
wonderful.
Zoom before, but thank you both, Jillian and Yizhar, and thank you so much to all of those on the line, not just for your support and cooperation throughout the years, but primarily for the amazing work you're doing in the Shetach, out in the field. We know it's not just the elections that are important; they're perhaps the end result. But the work, the day-to-day work of building our movement, is really what's so important. I'll respond to a couple of the things that were said. First of all, Yizhar, you said you don't know what I'm going to be doing next. Well, as soon as you head one of the departments in the WZO, I expect you to hire me to write that book about Herzl, a reader's guide to Alt Neuland that we'll be able to all use in our synagogue. So I'm counting on you to do that. We can move forward hand in hand. So much as so often it's asked, what are these congresses all about? Do they really matter? Do they make a difference? And the things that both Jillian and Yizhar mentioned are some of the examples of what really does. Yizhar, you mentioned it was when I started, in fact, we got zero funding from the WZO while the Orthodox were getting $1 million. And we really turned that around. That resolution that we presented close to 16 years ago, I think it was already. The Herzl Museum that you mentioned, it's as important as the museum is for Herzl. There's also a segment in there of our women with talitot and tefillin davening at the kotel that over 100,000 people see a year. It doesn't stop and say, see what Masorti Judaism is, but it exposes people to it. And I know that they see it because we've gotten lots of complaints about that. And that segment never would have been there without our representation in the World Zionist Organization. The Abu Yadaya that you mentioned, it's when I first brought it up to Bougie a couple of years ago, he said, who are they? How come I've never heard of them? And after a brief introduction, he actually sent me off to Uganda. I was there for the celebrations of the 100th anniversary. It was the first time there was an official visit from somebody from the Mosdot Leumim. And Yizhar, as you said, that led to the first birthright group of people coming. And it's led to a breakthrough in terms of the Jewish Agency offering scholarships for people from Abu Yadaya who want to come and study in Israel, even if they're not yet eligible for Aliyah. The conversion that you mentioned, I just had a meeting about 2 hours ago with Bougie. I gave him a whole list of unfinished business. Yes, I wrote the book, so to speak, but Yizhar, I'm glad I'm leaving it in good hands. There's a tremendous amount still to be done there. Bougie said he's working on responding to the letter also from Jacob Blumenthal. So there's plenty of work still to be done. But let me conclude not just with our Hesagim over the years, and they really are tremendous, and they really do make a huge difference for our lives. I want to leave you with a message about the inspiration that I've gotten from two balconies over the past 20 years or so. One, of course, is that balcony of the iconic picture of Herzl gazing out into an unknown future, full of dreams and vision and aspirations, lofty ideals, and so on. And of course, that's been a huge inspiration for me in all of my work. But the other balcony is the one that my office leads off of my office for the last 2 decades. It's the balcony on which the leaders of the state in the making stood on Kaf Tet November 29th, 1947, when the UN voted for the partition plan. And there were thousands of people congregated below, broke into dancing and celebration when the announcement was made that the partition plan had passed. And the people on the balcony were every bit as jubilant as those below. But they also were full of trepidation. They knew about the challenges before us. They knew how difficult they would be to overcome. And they knew how much responsibility they bore on their own shoulders. And for me, both of those MERCAZ, both of those balconies are tremendously important. On the one hand, to hold on to all of those ideals and aspirations, make sure that we don't forget what we're in this for. And on the other hand, recognize the huge responsibility that we have in continuing to work, however difficult it might be, to overcome them. I spoke about this in an interview that was just held, and I was asked, on which of the balconies do I feel most comfortable? And I thought about it for a moment, and I said, I think it's really, I've had one foot firmly planted on each of them throughout my professional career. One with the dreams and the aspirations, the other with the challenges and the responsibility. And I would recommend to all of you coming into the Zionist Congress that you also have one foot on each of those balconies as we continue pursuing what we're after. I would just recommend, be very careful on those balconies. Don't lose your balance. Thank you so much for the opportunity to serve you over the past 20 years. And indeed, I look forward to continuing to be very much involved with all of you and with all of what we're doing as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
תודה רבה.
Nili?
Thank you very much. We were asked, we're at the final stages of our orientation, we were asked to go over the schedule and the committee so you can, so everyone can understand what's going on. I will share with you the schedule from the WZO web site. You can all get there, and you should have the link by now, but if not, I'll send it again. Please note, this is draft number 9. I assume that by tomorrow afternoon, it won't be 9 anymore. It will be 10, 12, I don't know what the number, but it's going to change until then. But again, this is a draft. The first part of it is open to all, welcoming explanations on how to and what not. With your permission, I'm not going to go. I'm not getting deep into this. But these sessions are open for all. The first important task the delegation has is elections. Now, please note, we're not asking you to stay up all of this time, all that time, don't worry. But again, because of this, the platform and everything, you have a gap, a time window in which you can vote, 8 to 10 hours. These are all Israel time. Everything all the times that you see here, Israel times. You will have to do the translation to your local timing. And again, you should see instructions. Once you get the email from WZO, you should also get instructions exactly on how to vote. That's for tomorrow. That's for Tuesday. On Wednesday, an opening session.
Nili, to put attention about the votation when they need to vote, because at the moment that will be closed, this is very important for us that all our people will be vote. Inclusive, if you don't participate of the plenary, you can vote at your time. Okay? Excuse me, Nili. It's very important.
Thank you very much, Mauricio. Again, everyone understands that we're working in different time zones. people are working. That's why you have a time frame to vote. As I said at the beginning,
this is a question about the orientation, about the vote. We will send in the WhatsApp group or an email, what do you need to vote?
Exactly. If you cannot vote for any reason, please let us know. Okay. Wednesday, delegates 4:15 until 5:45. This is money time. Okay, this is the committee work that we've discussed today. You're going to be in committees according to the committees in the orientation today. So if you were in the Israelis home discussion, this is your committee. Okay, you're going to have the discussions. You'll have the discussion, talk about the languages and changes and everything else, and then you will vote not during this session, but later on during the night. Again, you will have. You see here, it's in Israel. It's actually Thursday. It might still be Wednesday for you, but you have between 2 o'clock in the morning until Thursday at noon to Israel time again to vote on the resolutions in your committees. You will see. I want to go back to the presentation that I showed you before to show you how it will look like. So just bear with me a second, please. There it is. On the website, you will get this window. Here, this window talks about the president, but it's going to be this. It's going to look the same for all voting. You'll have this with all the details and everything, and at the bottom, vote yes, no, abstain, whatever. If there are a few resolutions, you'll vote resolution 1.1 in favor. Continue, then you'll see resolution 1.2, and so on. You'll have everything in one place. I'm going back now to the program. Okay, so you have a window of time. Please note, and please remember that if you cannot participate in the Wednesday committees, we must replace you, and we must send some form to the WZO, to the Congress office. So if you cannot participate, please let me know as soon as you can, so I can take care and find you the alternate and do all the logistics. Pardon me. There are all the other plenary sessions, from crisis to opportunity. Speaking with the Minister of Aliyah and Integration is open to all delegates, alternates, and observers. Again, this is the voting window. On Thursday, we will see exactly how what were the results. I'm sorry, the results of the voting from all of the committees, and again a few more plenary sessions and honorary fellows and whatnot. And immediately after that, the first session of the Vada Poel will start with electing the officials of it. So this is the schedule. You should have it, or you should get it. I understand that that many of you didn't. I will check why. Any other questions or comments? You can write in the chat if you can't unmute yourself. And if not, again, email me. I saw that many of you joined a WhatsApp group. We have, please, you can write your screenshot or like that. Excuse me. I'm sorry. For any information before, during, after the Congress, please, here's my email, here's my phone number, I'm on WhatsApp. Please feel free. Even if it's in the middle of the night, I probably won't answer, wait until, Israel morning, but I will get back to you. We have a WhatsApp group. I saw that many of you joined. It is open now for everyone to comment. It's a general group for all of us, okay? Not per committee, for the entire delegation. You can use the link or scan the QR code here. You also have the link in the emails that I sent you, or just send me a WhatsApp and I will add you to the group. So that and as you asked, I think Emily, you asked, we'll open a WhatsApp for each. We'll open a WhatsApp for each committee, so you can discuss it between all of you. Discuss the issues between all of you. Are there any other? I will repost the WhatsApp. Yes, just a second. Hang on. I have too many. Here's the link and the QR code. Do you have any other questions, comments? Okay. I thank you, all of you. Rabbi Ellen Silverstein, Rabbi Mauricio Balter, group facilitators, Tehila, Reuven, Ariela, Grabetsky, for all the work, for everything. Rabbi Mauricio, do you want to, Rabbi Ellen Silverstein?
Only to say that all people, that is important that you continue to talk with the people in the Irgunim, in the institutions that can influence in the coalition agreement in each place. B'nai Brit, Maccabi, Hadassah, Naamat, Vitzo, all of them. It's very important to express that it's important to organize an agreement that have balance between all the factors of the World Zionist Organization, all the Zionist factions. If you can talk in your country, it's very critical to us today. Tomorrow will be later. We need to, you can call after this Zoom to the people and say, please call to your representative in Israel. We need a balanced agreement in Israel that include all the parts of the Zionist war. Thank you very much. Thank you to Nidi and to Teila for the hard work in this Zoom. Thank you very much. And Alan, you can close the meeting.
I want to thank Mauricio and Neely and Isar and Emily, who've been working so hard in the negotiations for the coalition effort towards an agreement have been incredibly difficult, and especially on Zoom. And so we were enormously grateful to them. I just want to stress to everybody, this getting together of our leaders is not about the Congress alone. It's about the next 5 years. It's day-to-day work building the movement. And among our goals is to get younger. We want to engage young people. And so the Vad HaPoel is going to have, among the alternates, that's a high level of involvement, it's going to have a lot of young people who will shadow people in positions who are more veteran so that they can become the leaders not in our distant future, but in our near-term future. And also, this is the one place in our movement. Our movement is blessed with incredible numbers of organizations. This is the one place in the movement where all the organizations of our movement from all the parts in the world can come together and to build a team on behalf of the greater good. That is our overall goal. MERCAZ only exists because of you. It's all the organizations from all over the world coming together. And so we're very grateful to everybody for being here today, but we'll be even more grateful if we stay together for the 5 years. And under the new leadership of Mauricio, who's still new, and Neely and Yishar, and Emily's in the Hanhala as well, and others, we will really move our movement forward in ways that world Jewry desperately needs. Toda rabah.
To close, only to remember, as wrote David Brakestone today, is the yahrzeit of Marty Davis, Zichrono Livracha, that was one of our leaders, and we remember him. And that with Zichrono Olami Livracha, that is important to mention that we remember a very important person for us. Thank you very much. Have a very, very good Congress for all of us. And we'll meet tomorrow.
Laila Tov, good day.
Laila Tov, good day.